Hey everybody, sorry, I'll give it a minute here. Let people get on. Apologize, it took me a minute. Took me a minute to figure this out again. Sorry, I don't get on here all the time. See, we got some people getting on now. Again, I apologize. I was trying to get this thing set up. I'm still Facebook challenged, unfortunately, so not one of my stronger points. So I'll give it a few minutes here, let people get on, then we'll do some talking. So hey Ray, how you doing? Good to see you. Margaret, how's it going? Looks like you were busy today. Eddie, how's it going, buddy? Hey Dwayne, good to see you, man. Long time. Ray, how's it going? Scott, I don't think I'm getting better at this Facebook thing, man. It's been a challenge. So, but keep working at it. Hey Charles, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a really busy month and a half. So it's been crazy with the Members United slate. We've been really busy getting out, trying to hit plants, trying to hit gates, and just engaging people everywhere we can. Hey Charles, good to see you. Nolan, hey, thanks for your vote, buddy. Hey Dave, I'll try to do better, man. I know I don't say ass clown enough. It's just not one of my phrases. I think somebody else has got that patented for themselves, so I'll leave that alone. Hey Nick, good to see you. Hey, he just voted for the slate. Way to go, buddy. Thank you for your support. Stacy, how's it going? How you doing, Marty? Hey, Lisa. Hey, John, good to see you, man. Thank you. Hey, Chris, good to see you on here, man. Yeah, sorry it took me a few. Like I said, I haven't done a live video for probably 3 weeks now. It's just been really hectic between, I'll go ahead and get going here, but it's just been hectic. These last month really in general. We had a council meeting, and then that ate up pretty much a week of time on top of trying to do things in the evening, whether it was talking to people, communicating, and so between working and then trying to visit plant gates, holding Zoom forums, it's been crazy busy, and I've been trying to do my best to keep up with all the phone calls, the text, and Facebook questions. So it's been hectic, but that's a good thing. It's good problems to have. That we've got a lot of people, a lot of excitement generated with our slate, and very proud of that. Before I get into some of the issues and some of the things I really want to talk about, I do want to address one thing. Throughout this campaign, I've tried not to engage name calling and the schoolyard bully tactics, but there's one candidate that just can't get away from that, and honestly, probably because that's all he has to talk about. But the other day, it turned from name calling and stuff to just flat out lying. And to me, that's just a sign of desperation on a part of a candidate, and who has nothing to run on. And I am going to set the record straight on some of these things, because I'm not going to have somebody misleading voting members when the guy's just flat out saying lies. So, and candidate you don't know, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I think we all know who that is, because it's the only one that seems to be using this tactic, but that's Brian Keller. And I'm just gonna read a few of the lies that he flat out said, because I actually watched some of this and I had some people make me aware of it. So I thought I'd just write a few of the things down that he said. They're just flat out lies, and I want to clear that up. One of the things he said the other night was he said that I'm out campaigning on members' dues. First off, I want to make that very clear. I work throughout the day, and my time campaigning is in the evenings and it's on the weekends. And one of the other things I want to make really clear is I've burned over 3.5 weeks of vacation to campaign. The people on our slate, we've all used vacation time to try to get out there and reach the members and try to visit plant gates and try to talk to people. So, bottom line, I don't care what he does with his personal time. I know there was some rant he did a long time ago about people complaining because he took a vacation. That was a choice he made. I don't care about that. That's his decision. But don't get on here and flat out lie about people and say that, we're campaigning on members' dues and we're flying on their dime and doing that, because we're not. We've paid for our road trips. We've driven ourselves. We went to these plant gates, and, we've got people that support us that are there to wait with us to introduce us to people. So it's been a great experience, but no one spent a damn dollar of members' dues money to campaign. We don't have access to that, number one. So that's one lie. Another lie he chose to tell was he said, I don't have a local agreement at my local. I've never got a local agreement at my local. I don't even know where the hell he's getting his information from. First off, I've been assigned to the National Training Center for 8 out of the 10 years I've been on staff. And we don't deal with local bargaining at the training center. So that's one stupid comment that just shows how little he actually knows about what the hell we even do at the national level. The second stupid comment he wants to make when he wants to talk about not having an agreement at my local is the fact that when I was on my local executive board, we successfully negotiated for tempered air and dealt with the conditions. And since that time, that's why our local recently went on strike again, because those things haven't been addressed since then. One other thing we successfully did when I was on our local executive board and we were negotiating for our plant was we negotiated for engine block work. And for those of you that don't know what my plant does, used to, we casted transmission cases and small parts for transmissions, and we supplied the transmissions plants. When I was in the leadership of our local, we successfully negotiated to bring engine block work to our plant, which really diversified our plant, and it's kept our plant viable and very busy for the last 15 years. So I'm very proud of the record of what I've done locally, but I'm not going to have somebody get on Facebook and say that I don't have a local agreement or we haven't done shit at our local, because that's a flat out lie. Another thing he says, I've done nothing for Belvedere or Warren Truck Plant, and I have access to mailing lists because I work at Solidarity House. So again, flat out lies. If you want to talk about Belvedere, call their shop chair. I've dealt with their shop chair for years. I know their leadership very well. And Belvedere's been a very serious issue for those of us at Chrysler for a long damn time. And it's complete bullshit what's going on out there. There's been product after product allocated, and they should have got some product there, and they haven't. But the bottom line is that's part of the reason why I'm running, because we've got to address those issues, and we've got to get product for our plants. Our leadership's been too passive and too complacent, and they haven't taken action when they needed to take action to deliver product for those plants. And there's no excuse for that in the wealthiest times in the history of these corporations. To talk about mailing lists and access to mailing lists, first off, any mailings we do, and I'll say this, our slate's done one mailing, and some of us have dug into our 401ks and stuff to try to finance that. So, before you go making stupid comments like that and flat out lying again, let you know we're invested in our campaign because we believe in ourselves. We've done one mailing, and the one mailing we've done, we did it the proper way through the monitor's office, because they control those lists and they control the mailers. I'm just going to close in talking about him, just getting to this, because bottom line to me, and I'm just going to say this, Brian Keller's full of shit. He runs his mouth and lies about things because he has no clue and he has nothing else to campaign on. So bottom line, I don't buy it. I don't think the membership's going to buy that campaign tactic. And, when he makes comments the other day, bottom line, he made a comment, I don't care for Shawn Fain, and I'll make that clear. Shawn Fain hasn't done shit. Well, let me tell you, brother, as a local elected rep, I took on vice presidents. I've stood against national agreements as an elected local rep. As an international rep, I worked with local leaders to stop initiatives that a vice president was pushing along with the company that would have cost our members jobs. So what the hell has Brian Keller ever done? He's held 3-person rallies at the Solidarity House, and he's ran his mouth on Facebook. That's not being in the fight for 10 years. That's just taking care of yourself and running your mouth and acting like you're some kind of hero when you're not. So bottom line, that's all I'm going to say about this guy. I'm not going to get into a name calling thing. I'm not going to get into some big long debate about this. Like I said, I've tried to ignore the childish antics and all that throughout this campaign, but I'm not going to sit here when a man's flat out lying about myself and other people and act like that's okay. So moving on to where we are nowadays and the reality, currently, we look at this. We had our Chrysler Council or Stellantis Council meeting a few weeks ago. So the committeemen and presidents and shop chairs from all the locals, that's what the councils are made up of the big three. So before we go into bargaining, usually in the fall, every before national bargaining, the councils get together and they elect their national negotiating committees from among the presidents, committee persons, and shop chairs. So I know Chrysler and GM have both elected their national negotiating committees. I'm not positive on Ford if they haven't. I know that's coming any time now, but they may have. I'm just not sure. Higher ed in California, they're taking strike votes right now. So we need to put a lot of support behind these people. It's really serious. Looking at our higher ed people. It doesn't matter whether it's East Coast, West Coast, or where they are. Think about this with the cost of living. I mean, a lot of these people are making in the 30,000 range on their wages on top of going to school. And you think about the cost of living in California or on the East Coast in New York, those areas, Connecticut. I mean, the cost of living is way higher than it is in Michigan. It's way higher than it is where I'm from in Indiana. And think about trying to have living quarters and surviving on that type of wage. So these guys, brothers and sisters are in a battle. And, we got to get behind them and really show support. And so just want to recognize that and let people know that, they're getting ready, for a huge battle out there. Case New Holland, we were blessed to go by and visit the striking workers at Case New Holland while we were on our road trip. And, they're still standing strong. It's a sad testament, that they're out there. Case New Holland, it's not like the company's not making money. They're making billions. And these workers aren't asking for the world. They're asking for just decent treatment. They're asking for a fair wage. They're asking for better insurance. And Case New Holland's trying to cut their insurance. It's shameful, that our workers have to deal with this stuff. And it's shameful that these corporations are allowed to do these things, in times like this. And then you take the Warren Truck Assembly plant, things going on there right now. We've seen where management now is having quality issues there. So, they go to their default answer. They try to blame the workers and worker absenteeism as being the reason why they have issues with quality, and that's just flat out bullshit. Again, it's management scapegoating the real issue, which is the fact that they can't manage or they can't, keep things in line. And the bottom line, when you don't treat your workers right, when you hire workers in, when you've got, tons of temps working at low wages that have, worse conditions, you've got people on tiers that are trying to get to full pay, they're in progression. You got people working on the line, making different salaries, doing the same job. That's what you get. So when you want a ship full of temps working and you're working temps 7 days a week, overtime and all that, you're going to have quality issues if that's what you're going to bank on. That's a company-created problem. That's not a member problem. Something else, I want to talk about too is at the recent council meeting that we were in, I found it shameful, as President Curry and Secretary Treasurer Stuglin and Vice President Estrada, were speaking, they chose to hinge on some things I've said on Facebook. Obviously, they were campaigning at a council meeting versus just talking about council business. But, we've come to expect that from the administration caucus because, obviously this is all about power and their power. It's not about you, the membership, to them. So, I've made comments in some of my Facebook videos about the fact that we're hemorrhaging jobs and there are plants that are on life support like Belvedere Assembly. That's not made up stuff. That's fact. And it's pretty sad, that President Curry actually made the statement and somebody else was backing him up saying how we have a responsibility, pointing at me, a responsibility. Well, yes, we do have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to our members, not to the IEB and not to their caucus. We have a responsibility to the members first. And the bottom line is, go talk to some, if you think those are lies, go talk to the people at Belvedere. Talk to the thousands of people at Belvedere that have been laid off, they've had to choose between moving their families and packing their livelihoods and moving states away to keep a job, or to sit at home and lose all their pay and benefits. That's been their option. So, and they are on life support right now, because the bottom line is, if they don't get product in there, they're going to be out of jobs soon. You look at what happened at Lordstown. You look at what happened at Warren Powertrain. You want to talk about hemorrhaging jobs? We've met people while we've been on the road from Lordstown and different GM plants that plant was closed. And they're still dealing with the issues of that. They're still dealing with issues and commitments that were made about retirement that the company's not honoring. There are all kinds of issues. And the bottom line is, we're hemorrhaging those jobs. You want to talk about how bad this is for some of our people? Talk about Mount Elliott Tool and Die at Chrysler. That plant should have been kept there. That work should have stayed there. Unfortunately, our leadership chose not to fight for that work under Norwood. And it's a sad testament that we have tool and die makers with 37 years seniority. 37 years people have worked in that trade, and they were laid off, weren't given plant closing language, and some of those workers were basically, by the company, was forced to go work production, day one seniority. And so a lot of those people end up retiring. I mean, think about that. You work 37 years busting your ass for this company in the trades, and your reward after 37 years is, hey, we're going to lay you off, and we're going to make you the low person in production and put you in the least desirable job. It's shameful that this shit is going on. And it's not just it's going on everywhere, and it's got to stop. And that's why I'm running. That's why our Members United slate is doing what we're doing. Bottom line is, our leaders have refused to fight for our members, and they've refused to take action to protect our jobs, and that's got to change. We talk about the EV situation. If you watch some of the candidate forums, the Curry Solidarity slate was talking about how we're way out in front of this. We're nowhere near way out in front of this. Our research department's been doing a great job for years of researching this stuff and getting ahead of the game on this. But the bottom line is, when these companies when they announced the first joint venture without our involvement, action should have been taken, and it wasn't. There's over $11 billion in investment in Kentucky and Tennessee for Ford for battery plants. And right now, that's not UAW, and that doesn't benefit our members. They announced at Chrysler a joint venture, or Stellantis a joint venture in Kokomo, Indiana, where I'm from. And it's a damn shame. Again, this company made an announcement, did not even involve the UAW in that. Our leadership found out about this announcement a few days before the announcement was made. But again, the bottom line is, if we're not going to take action to lock this work down up front, we're going to pay hell trying to lock it down on the tail end. And so all these joint ventures are just a technique and a tactic by the companies to try to circumvent our contracts and our master agreements, and to circumvent our membership and being UAW. So don't fall for that bullshit. We've got to get ahead of this. Again, that's another reason why we're running. Let's talk about temps. Let's talk about how temps are hired, or supplemental workers, depending on where you work. Right away they hire in and they start paying dues. But you know what they're told when they get on the plant floor? That we can't represent them. It's a shame that the first experience some of our workers have as a union member is, thanks for your dues, but we can't help you. That's shameful, and it's got to stop. And once they end that temp, they get, an 8-year progression. Think about the 8-year progression. And this is a sad reality. When I hired in at Chrysler, you got your 90 days, and then you went full time. You had a pension. You were able, because you were hired in, and in 90 days you were at full pay, and you had a pension. You were able to start saving money at a young age, and put money into a 401k, which is a second leg to help you achieve retirement. And so you think about this nowadays with our workers for the last 15 years that have hired in without a pension and at a low wage, and it takes them years to get to full pay. They can't save money when they're living paycheck to paycheck. So, how these workers, number one, they're never going to retire because they don't have a retirement. They don't have post-retirement health care. They don't have a pension. They're going to have to hope and pray they've got enough put back in a 401k when they've been making low wages and they can barely pay their rent. So that's got to stop. We can do better. And that's the bottom line. The companies talk about quality issues and they want to fix quality issues. This is a better way to fix quality issues. It's taking care of your employees that enable you to make that product and get things done. Talk about retirees. And as I say, and as I've said over and over, and I'll say it till the day I die, I'm very proud of my heritage, where I come from. 3 of my 4 grandparents were UAW retirees. And the bottom line is, we can do better. Again, these corporations have had over 10 years of extremely high profits, and our retirees haven't got a damn thing in over 15 years, and there's no excuse for that. And contrary to what people want to say about we can't negotiate for retirees, yes, we can. It's not a mandatory subject of bargaining. It is a permissive subject. And the bottom line is, we've had leadership in the past that have successfully negotiated for retirees that are out there now, and for our future retirees for increases. And also, we got to look at pensions, for our workers. This is an interesting thing I found the other day when I picked up a paper. People want to talk about pensions like it's some kind of pipe dream. You know what? This was in a paper the other day, and this is shameful. This is on Monday's newspaper, but millions of seniors struggling to survive. And all this is based out of because pensions have went away and disappeared predominantly in this country, and people are struggling to make ends meet. Our seniors are struggling whether they can eat dinner or whether they're going to pay for medication. So pensions are vital, and we've got to get back. We set the standard, for that. We brought pensions, and everyone followed that model, and we've got to get back to setting the standard. And all this ties into, this philosophy we've been on the last couple contracts, where our top leadership aims low and settles lower. These aren't pie in the sky pipe dreams. We have to get back to setting the standard, and if we have success in bargaining, that works hand in hand with organizing. That's what's going to make people want to be a part of this union, and that's what's going to bring them in. That's what built this union. Back when this union founded, people saw a difference. They saw the benefit of being in a union, and that's what made them want to join, because they saw something better. We go down in the South right now and try to organize, and these people look at what we have, and they look at what they have, and they can't see the difference. And that's sad. So, bargaining and organizing go hand in hand. We've got to bargain better contracts. We've got to show the difference, and that'll help us win in organizing in the auto sector. We do have to focus organizing right now where we're having success, areas like higher ed and all that. So, we need to focus resources there. But when it comes to auto bargaining and EV and all that, we've got to take action. We've got to secure the work. We've got to protect the jobs, and we've got to have success in bargaining, and that'll lead to the success in organizing. And the sad part of this is right now, as I said earlier, it's been a decade. These companies have had record profits for years, record profits, and we're still losing plants, and we're still losing jobs. And think about this, from 15 to 19, those 2 sets of bargaining, when these companies were flush with cash, we've had a plant closing moratorium in place through all of these agreements. We still have a plant closing moratorium in place as more jobs keep getting spun off or plants keep hemorrhaging jobs. And so think of that. It's not that we don't have language to protect this. It's the fact that our leadership refuses to enforce the damn language and fight to protect the jobs. It's crazy, and it's insane, and it's sad that we're at that level, and we've got to get new leadership in there. That's what this election's all about. We got to elect leadership that's going to put the membership first, and leadership that's battle-tested, leadership that's been there, leadership that's seen things in bargaining that they disagree with, leadership that's been through plant closing. Some of our vice president candidates, our secretary treasurer, they've dealt with a plant closing. They've lived that experience. Some of them dealt with their plant being spun off. So they've seen the reality of the complacency and the inaction. So the bottom line is, we've got to elect new leadership that's going to put the members first and not put themselves first. And that's what this election's all about. With the one member, one vote initiative, this is our one shot. The first time in our history, the members get a ballot, the members get a vote. And so that's the beauty of this. It doesn't matter how much pressure they put on people or put on locals. The bottom line, everybody gets a ballot in the privacy of their home, and they can mail it back. So this is your shot to take advantage of that. And when you go to cast that ballot, because ballots are hitting the houses right now. I got mine today. I've seen several people comment on Facebook. They're starting to get their ballots now. I want you to think about this before you mark that ballot. The Curry Solidarity Slate does not want you to have the right to vote for these positions. Now, how freaking sad is that? That's how little confidence they have in themselves, because the bottom line is, as a local leader for years, I never minded elections. I don't mind elections. I don't mind running for office. If you take care of your membership and you take care of the people, they'll take care of you come election time. And the bottom line is sometimes good leaders do get beat, but at the end of the day, it's up to the membership and it's in the hands of the membership. And if we're elected, that's how it's going to stay. And the bottom line is, so when you go to mark that ballot, think about that. They do not want you to be able to mark a ballot. They want a convention system of elections because they control the outcome of that, and they have the outcome determined before the convention ever happens. That's not membership taking care of business. That's them taking care of themselves. So don't forget that when you go to mark that ballot in the next few weeks. Bottom line in this election, as I've said before, you got three options. And here's what they are in a nutshell. And it's pretty simple to me. You can vote for the Curry Solidarity slate, and you can expect more of the same, the company unionism philosophy. The companies are praying to God these people get reelected because they know damn good and well that's their best chance to keep doing what they've been doing. Your second option is you can vote for some leaders, some candidates that don't have any experience. Some of them haven't ever been elected before. And the bottom line is we don't have time. As I said before, the presidency, the top executive board positions of this union, they're not entry-level positions. We do need people that have experience and have a background that can hit the ground running. If you look at higher ed right now, they may be on strike. Who knows? Case New Holland's currently on strike. The big three is going to be starting bargaining. We're already in the process. As I said, they've already elected their negotiating committees. So we're going to be, as soon as these elections are over, we're going to be in the planning stages of bargaining. So you've got to have leadership that has experience and knows what the hell they're doing, that can hit the ground running. And that's why we get to the third option, which is our Members United slate. Bottom line is, as I've said before, we've got battle-tested candidates who have been there. We've seen it. We've negotiated locally. We've negotiated nationally. We've been through the run-of-the-mill, and we know the game. So bottom line, that's your three options. And, I just hope, the membership take advantage of this. We've visited a lot of plant gates, and we've heard the same common theme. On our road trip we did throughout the Midwest, we hit Indianapolis, St. Louis, Wentzville, Missouri, Kansas City, GM and Ford. We've seen seat factory workers out in Kansas City. We've talked to, in Illinois, we went to Iowa. We met with Case New Holland. We went to Illinois, met with the Deere workers. We've been to Chicago, Illinois. We went by Belvedere plant gates. We've been to plant gates in Louisville at Ford Truck, at Louisville Assembly. We've been to Dearborn. We've went to GM Flint. We've tried to get around and talk to people, but the one thing I'll tell you is the common theme we keep hearing from people on the shop floor is they're worried about their job security. The GM plant out in Kansas City, they're worried about future product. Louisville Assembly is worried about future product. And our workers shouldn't have to worry about that. They should know this leadership's got their back and that their leadership's going to fight like hell to protect their job and keep that job security. Which brings back to another point. Job security language, that's another thing that was suspended during bankruptcy, and it's still suspended, just like cost of living has been suspended for 13 years. Those things should have came back in 15 and 19. They didn't. And our leadership has wasted two golden opportunities to get a lot of that back. And we've got to take advantage of this now because who knows how much longer this economy is going to hold. So we've got to get new leadership in there. Those are your options going forward. I look forward to talking to you more, and I appreciate the comments, appreciate everybody getting on. And if you can, share this with friends, with other UAW members. This is our time, and it's crunch time now. Ballots are out there, and so it's time to put up or shut up. It's time we take this union back and put the membership first. So I encourage you to vote for our Members United slate. And in areas where there may be candidates running that aren't on our slate, and I'll bring up Region 2B as an example, David Green. He's a great candidate for regional director. Highly endorse him, highly recommend him. So, so look at those candidates in other areas. We need new leadership. The Curry Solidarity slate already has 5 members on the International Executive Board because they ran unopposed. So, some people talk about slates and say slates scare them. A slate is just a group of people coming together because we know in order to effect change, you can't just elect one person. This isn't contrary to what some of our leaders believe, this isn't a one-person show. It takes a team. It takes a group of people. So I highly encourage you to vote for our Members United slate because we're going to put you first, and that's what this is all about. It's about taking this union back and putting the membership first rather than a top-down leadership that puts themselves first. So I thank you guys for listening and look forward to bringing this thing home. Cast those ballots, and let's get out there and let's get this done. So thanks a lot, and I'll read through a few comments here just to see if there's anything in here. I don't know if there's anything to comment on or not. Appreciate all the comments, by the way, and So yeah, and I don't. So I don't know. Hey, I like that all aboard the Fain train. It's not about me though. This is about our slate. So let's just keep things rolling. And we got a great slate, some great candidates, and we got a lot of great people. That have been working with us. And that's one thing I got to say. Visiting these plants everywhere, it's been great just to see people coming in and out of the plants every day. Hearing their issues, hearing their concerns, seeing their frustration. It's upsetting. But that's what this is all about. So this is this is it, man. This is what elections are about. So this is your one shot, to take this thing back. And if you do yourself anything as far as a favor with your job and your future, then cast that ballot. And like I said, when you go to cast that ballot, remember the Curry Solidarity Slate doesn't want you to have that right. And this is all about you. So I appreciate your time, and we'll be talking more, and we'll try to follow up some more as things progress. And looking forward to a positive outcome for the Members United Slate and for our membership, because the members, are what this is all about. So thanks a lot.